Warning: this episode contains discussions of sexual violence, trauma, and systemic injustice. Some content may be distressing or triggering, especially for survivors. Please listen with care and prioritize your well being. Support resources are listed in the episode description below. Hi, listeners. In this powerful episode of No Longer Silence, we sit down with a courageous mother-daughter duo, Ash and Vicky, both survivors of sexual violence and domestic abuse. Ash shares her deeply personal journey of survival and how she's transformed trauma into artistic expression. She opens up about reclaiming her voice, the role of a supportive partner, and the strength it took to tell her story. In the second half, her mother Vicky joins the conversation. She raises honest, necessary questions about accountability and reflects on the painful failures of institutions that were meant to protect them both. This is more than a story of survival. It's a testament to truth, resilience, and building and rebuilding the unbreakable bond between mother and daughter. This is No Longer Silenced. Thank you, listeners. I'm your host, Kadre Jones, and today we are here with a special guest, one of our survivors. It's really going to be up to them to share their story and all the parts of their story that they want to retell and reshape. So let's put our virtual hands together and welcome our survivor.
Hi everyone, today I'll be talking to you guys about my story.
Alright. Who are you and how are you? Now I know you said, first of all, your name is Ash, but tell us about Ash. Tell us what Ash likes to do, what's Ash listening to right now, if there's a song that Ash is into, let us know a little bit more about Ash.
I like to skateboard, draw, color. I like to take care of my little lizards.
Tell us about your lizards.
One's sitting on my lap currently. His name is also Ash.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother has my other one named Izzy. So one's a boy, one's a girl.
Okay. I think I need to let the listeners know that I am not into the reptiles. But to be fair, these are very, very gentle reptiles. So, and these are bearded dragons?
Yes,
they're bearded dragons.
Ash was previously abused by a breeder. He's a rescue.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt it really like a huge connection when we were adopting him.
Yeah.
Izzy was also abused, but she was more of neglected. And the previous owner's dog and cat was like pooping and peeing and attacking her.
You decided to adopt those.
Yeah.
Look at that. So I guess feeling empowered, then you're also able to help empower others and not just people, but also animals, because now you have the opportunity to raise them in an environment that's nurturing and very loving. She's very, very loving with them. Their hugs and kisses and movement, very affectionate too. It's really cute and quite heartwarming to just see the experience and the environment that you've created for them and how affectionate you are with them and vice versa. So that's really, really beautiful to see. So how are you?
I'm okay. However, since I've been getting my counseling with Revive, I feel a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like very neutral. I'm at a very stable mental level right now, and it's great.
Well, stability is good. We love that. So tell us, Ash, where does your story begin?
I would say my story begins when I was about 7-8 years old. I used to come home from visiting my dad's house and telling people like my mom and the children's lawyer and everything that my dad was touching me, and the courts kind of brushed it off and said that they couldn't really believe me because I'm just a kid and it could be something through the shower or something a parent should be doing to take care of their children.
At 7.
When I was already showering by myself.
And how did that make you feel? Being able to say what was happening but not being believed.
Just kind of felt powerless. You know, it kind of made me stop talking about it because at the end of the day I would just get in trouble and no one would believe me anyway, so what was the point?
And at what point were you able to say enough is enough?
So when I was about 12 years old, I stopped seeing my father. So it was just living with my mom now, and things were okay. I still never said anything because no one believed me. And then I got to high school, and I had a boyfriend, and he convinced me to speak up. And so I did. I spoke up, and he's being charged with 4 counts, and I'm going to be testifying soon. I don't know if I'm allowed to share the specific dates.
Okay, how are you feeling about testifying, like sharing your story in a different setting and platform?
See, I'm okay with sharing my story. I feel like me sharing it at such a young age would empower other people my age to also speak up. But to speak in front of the courts again, I'm absolutely terrified. They didn't believe me last time. What's gonna change that?
Yeah. And that, I think, is probably something that's really difficult to face, because not just for you but for other persons who are in the same position where you spoke out when it just happened and nobody believed you, and now you're going to go back into a similar setting, probably speaking to different people, but it's just like, how will they accept what I have to say, knowing that you know your truth and what you experience, and you're trying to convince other people that this is true, that this did happen to me. So I imagine how frightening that might feel for you right now. And how do you find support or solace in thinking about that experience, and what keeps you going to get there?
I have my lizards, first of all. I have my mom and my grandma, who are like my rock. I also have my friends at school who are really, really supportive, and they're there for me when I need them. So.
How important having community is to you as someone who has survived this? How do you tap into that community?
I feel like community is one of the most important things someone could have, because without my community, I wouldn't really be here. Like, I wouldn't be able to be doing the things that I am doing currently. Without my community, I wouldn't have known about Ash, my little baby, and I wouldn't have figured out about Revive, so I wouldn't really be here either. It's very important to have those people that are there for you when you need them.
Yeah. And I know you spoke about your experience with your boyfriend at the time, who helped you to get to the place where you were able to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to stand on business, I'm going to share my story. And what was that experience like? Was it one where he had to pull that story out of you, or were you just comfortable and you felt safe and you thought, I can share this?
At first, I had only shared it with him, and then he continuously begged me to tell people, and that's when I knew I had to speak up.
Yeah. And that's really important, because I guess he could have heard that story and been like, well, I'm sorry that happened, but let's move on. That happened so long ago. But he was also, and it shows that it's important for us to also have men in our lives who have the ability and the emotional intelligence to realize when something is going wrong, when something is hurting the person that you love, and help them to get help for themselves as well. So I'm really glad that you shared that. So how do you want to reshape your story?
I just want it to be told how it actually happened. You know, I don't want there to be any sugarcoating or for people to spin their version of it. I just want to be told how it actually happened. You know,
And how have you been able to find your voice?
I've done a lot of art. I feel like that's my way of speaking.
That's your outlet?
I drew a picture for Revive called Silence.
Which is the cover art for this episode, if we're paying attention.
Yeah, it was in 1,000 words drawing. So basically, it was an assignment given to me by my grade 10 art teacher. Yeah, and basically what you had to do was you had to draw a picture with only words. So there are no lines in that picture at all, like no filling in like with just scribbles. It's all words.
Wow.
So there are definitely more than 1,000 words there, but yeah.
And what did it feel like working on that piece of art?
It was, some points there were times where I would just break down crying while I was doing it, and there were some times where I would be sitting next to my friend who was in the class with me, and they were working on a completely different like project or whatever, and we would just kind of, there were some times where I was just like completely, out of it, just enjoying my music, being like, you know what, this is nothing, but then there were times where I was also like really down.
Yeah.
The words in the picture are don't tell anybody, not even your mother, because that's what my father used to say to me. And yeah.
So it was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yep.
Wow. And I mean, to have all of those words written and to come up with such a beautiful but impactful art piece all at the same time must have been so empowering for you too, to put that somewhere. It wasn't a journal, but it was also something that you could make and show to other people, and that could be left up to interpretation for so many other people, because there are a lot of women and girls and boys and men that are being silenced today, and for you to be able to put that into an art piece to mean so much to you and to other people is quite fascinating. Did you do art all this time before?
I'm a very artsy person. I love to draw. My mom had me in semi-private like art lessons before it got really expensive. So I've always loved art. It's always been a passion. There's not a single art piece in my room that doesn't have some sort of meaning. And let me tell you, almost every wall in my room has at least 2 pieces of art on it.
All art that you've created?
All.
Oh, okay.
Most of it, yes, but there are certain pieces there that I haven't created that I found and that there had a lot of meaning in it. And I also have the backpacks from Caravana on my walls. So that's like...
Oh.
Yeah.
So when you were doing this art piece, and you said you were with your classmates, did you find anybody doing anything similar to what you were doing?
No, a lot of people were focusing on like poverty or homelessness or things in the beauty industry, and I was kind of the only one doing anything that had to do with sexual assault.
And did you feel isolated in your experience doing that?
No. In my class, I only had the one friend that sat beside me, and they already knew my story, so it was kind of just like, it was whatever, and no one in that class really talked to each other. It was more of like, you have your people, and those people just stick together.
Oh, isolated groups.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was just curious if while you were creating that, if there was anybody who wanted to know what that was about.
People at school, like kids-wise, kind of mind their own business when it comes to stuff like that. So you don't want to poke the bear too much.
And do you think that's out of fear?
I would say so.
And that makes me wonder if there are other girls in your age group going through a similar situation, what would you tell them? Because you were able to use this art as somewhat of an outlet for you to release some emotions, but they probably have all of that pent up inside. How would you advise them?
Find your people and find your outlet. Once you find your outlet and your people, it becomes a little easier to come out of the hole of just keeping everything in.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to find those things, but once you do, think of it like a staircase,
Going towards the goal.
Yes.
Okay. And in rewriting your story, is there a song or a quote that has stood out to you Like something that if you go on your phone right now, if you're feeling low or you're feeling disempowered, like this is the song that you listen to bring you back to who you know you need to be and who you can
So
be.
there is this one quote. It's by Albus Dumbledore from Harry Potter.
Ah.
I've had this quote in my head since I was like 10 years old because I am definitely a Potterhead. Happiness can be found even in the darkest times if one only remembers to turn on the light.
Wow.
So
I love that.
Yeah. It's someone turned on the light for me and I took the torch.
I love that. Ash is very beautiful. I mean, you guys aren't able to see her right now, but she's very beautiful. And every experience I've had with you, you've always been smiling,
Thank you.
always very joyful. So there's no way anybody for that matter could look at you and think this is what you've been through, that you've been through any kind of sexual abuse or violence. And I think that speaks volumes too, because there are many women, girls, boys, and men out there who look perfectly fine. They look perfectly happy, and they're probably going through a lot internally. I'm always very happy to just see you shining and being filled with so much joy, because that reminds me and our listeners that you're able to find joy again.
Yeah. Eventually, you know, it's a very rocky road. And it's normally how it is, though. You never know what someone's going through unless you actually talk to them and have them open up to you.
Right. Yeah, you're right. A lot of times you just don't know. And being kind, being a safe space for someone goes a long way. How would you say one goes about becoming a safe space for others to share this experience?
Just kind of being there for them, you know? I find with a lot of my friends, we don't judge each other.
We listen.
And we don't judge. It's not only that, but you keep your word. If you say you're going to be there for someone and they call you and you're not there, well then, if that keeps happening, they're not going to see you as that safe space, right? Whereas I'm a safe space for a lot of my friends. And so I'm always there when they need me. So
Because the importance of showing up.
I find this just that can do a lot.
Yeah, that's really important. Showing up for people, showing up firstly, and then becoming the safe space because you showed up so much is really important. And especially for victims and survivors, very often, as is your case and very often in many other cases, the persons who abuse them or the persons who hurt them are people who they're meant to think will always take care of them. And so it's so much harder to learn to trust others. So if a victim or survivor does trust you, always ensure that you show up the best way you possibly can, because chances are there are not a lot of people that they do trust. So thank you for sharing that, Ash. And is there anything that you would want to leave our listeners with today?
Stop being scared of reptiles, guys.
I think that one was directed at me. I mean, I'm right here.
Okay, I'll walk into a store or something, I'll have my reptile on my shoulder. Either people will think it's a toy, or they will jump back like 6 to 10 feet because what is that on your shoulder?
No, he's very quiet. Yeah. Very, very quiet. Very sweet. So stop being reptiles. Stop being afraid of reptiles.
Yes. If you are a survivor of something, find your people and speak. Because
Thank you so much for sharing that, Ash. So now we are joined by Vicky, who is the mom of Ash. And she's going to share with us what her experience has been like walking this road with Ash, some of the challenges that she's faced, and how she is looking forward, how she's able to look forward, and what her expectations are for herself and her relationship with Ash, and how she envisions a better future for them both. So thank you, Vicky.
Thank you
for being a part of this. So walk me through what your experience has been like from Ash speaking up for the very first time to where you are in your journey now.
So Ash spoke up when she was a very young child. I would even say 4, 5 years old. She would come home from her dad's on weekend visits and say to people in my home, to other people, friends, to a co-worker at work, her dad touched her pokey. Like we used to call down there her pokey, her vagina. It's very important to teach your kids the right words. I know we all have nicknames for certain parts of our body, but when it comes down to it, the kids really need to know the right word to use, because then people don't believe or understand the word when they say it. So, there were several police reports of him touching her, but nothing founded. There was a family court battle of about 12 to 13 years, finally with me getting full custody of my daughter and him walking away. And now I completely understand that day why he walked away and gave up full custody, because he wanted full custody of Ash. Now I understand that day when he wrote to my lawyer signing off on the papers why he was giving up custody, because she was ready to speak, and I think he was scared of that. She wrote a letter back then how depressed she was coming there and that she was going to run away, and I think he got scared that she was actually going to open her mouth and blow up this can of worms. Nobody ever believed her from the age of 4, and then that's why she silenced. He won, he silenced her, he silenced me, because I got in trouble in family court. Every time I opened my mouth, the judge would yell at me, I'm on a fishing expedition. CS didn't believe. My court file is so big with CS, every time we opened our mouths that she's claiming he's touching her. Oh, well, she didn't really say that. Oh, she didn't really say this. Oh, we didn't find that when we went to his house. That it silenced me. It silenced me as a mom. I stopped believing in my daughter. I think she just kept it all inside. And it breaks my heart, that I had to do so many things and I couldn't afford anymore, so I just had to keep my mouth shut. And most people can't afford court, can't afford lawyers.
I'm pretty sure you did the best that you could at that time with all the tools that you had available to you. And when were you able to also be empowered to get to the point where, okay, she's speaking out, I'm going to help her speak out, I'm going to do everything that I possibly can do now?
So when she opened her mouth at school and they called me down to the office and she said all this was at least 2 years after I had full custody of her, and that she had still kept her mouth closed and still hadn't said anything. And then I'm like, why are you saying this now?
Now, yeah.
I said, why are you lying? Because to me it was just like, where is this coming from now? And then I sat there and I pondered and I thought, you wrote that letter. No wonder we were trying to figure out why he just all of a sudden gave up custody and access, because he might have been afraid she was going to speak now. Mm-hmm. There were times Children's Aid gave him the heads up they were coming into their home because this child reported to somebody that she got locked in a basement, that he even went to the point of taking the door and the hinges off.
And I want you to speak on that a little bit more, because there are a lot of figures of authority that exist in this world that are meant to, quote unquote,
protect the children.
Protect the children, serve the community, help the people. And what I'm hearing is that your experience with them, where that's concerned, was the exact opposite. And it felt more as though it was protecting the perpetrator accused, as opposed to protecting the victim.
I'm going to tell you right now, this law system is bullshit. It protects the accused. They have 18 months to be tried in court, or it's thrown out. This is why a lot of sexual assaulted victims and domestic assaulted victims do not testify, because it goes nowhere. The accused has all the rights in court, not the victim. The victim is so powerless in court, and everybody wants us to get back our voice. We can't get back our voice, because once we open our voices in court and we say everything and then nothing is done and the case gets thrown out, the victim goes through it again and loses their voice. And losing your voice a second time is so much harder than the first time. My daughter lost her voice many times. My case file is so big in the courts, it's like 7 or 8 boxes. If you look in there, she went to Peel Police under Special Victims Unit. She went to CAS many times, and then CAS gives her dad the heads up that they're coming to check the home because she was reported that she was locked in a basement. This man took the door off the hinges, painted it up, hid the door in the shed, and the basement was all changed so it looked like she was a liar. Who gives the perpetrator heads up that they're coming? CAS? Yeah. Ontario Children's Lawyer do not protect the children. They protect a party that they get paid from.
So you see, when it comes on to the stories of victims and survivors and persons who have been abused, we've been talking a lot about the mental health and their own mental struggles that they go through, but it's not just because of what's happening on the inside, but what's happening externally. Because think about the fact that people are looking to get supports from systems like these, and pretty much it's being thrown in their face because it's not actually helping them, it's not actually protecting them. And then where do you go from there? And I'm sure you would have learned a lot about being your own advocate in a situation like this, advocating for yourself, advocating for your daughter, and what has that looked like for you?
When she came home, I was her advocate. I was her parent. I was the one that had to voice. They didn't believe her. She felt for those 4, 5, 6, 7 years, her voice was taken. I got in trouble in family court from the judges. Constantly. I'm on a fishing expedition. I'm making this up. Oh, not founded, not founded. I have so much PTSD from the courthouse that maybe they're right. And I should stop believing my child. Maybe she is making this up. That this is not really what's happening. So I stopped voicing. She stopped voicing. He won. Until that day she wrote the letter that she was going to run away if she was forced to come to his house again. He would withhold her medication. He didn't give her a toothbrush to brush her teeth. Her teeth came home all yellow and caked. At one point, she was pissing her pants all the time. This was at a very young age. She was seen by a urologist. Nothing down there was wrong, ultrasounds, but she had an overactive bladder is what I was told. She didn't have an overactive bladder. She was put in a situation where things were happening. She was being touched. And what could she do? Now I don't think, because once she stopped seeing him at the age of 11, 12, that stopped. We stopped giving her the medicine. And it didn't dawn on me then that it was because she was put in a situation she didn't know how to manage. She was a young child.
Yeah.
Only now when you look back at the situation, you can now oh, he was paid off. Oh, they didn't do their job properly. Oh, they gave him a heads up that they were coming into his home. Oh, there's so many
Connecting
O's.
all the dots.
And this is one big jigsaw puzzle. The courts, are they really there to protect the kids? Ontario Children's Lawyer? CAS? Nothing's worked for me in this situation. And I know nothing's worked for a lot of other people that have opened their mouths to protect their kids. This is why so many people stay silenced for so long.
Because the title of this podcast is No Longer Silence, because we want victims and survivors to know that there's power in you speaking out. There has to be. By joining with other victims and survivors, creating a space where you're advocating for each other, and there is beauty in numbers when there's more people standing with you. Before we even started recording, you were showing me a t-shirt with the piece that Ash did, and you said that when you guys go to court, you're hoping that the persons who come to support her will also wear that shirt.
Yes.
And even if not just in that courthouse, but they'll wear it outside of that, and so people see it and say, "Hey, what's that shirt about?" And that will give other people the opportunity to say, "I know someone. This is her story. If you know someone, if you're going through this, you can get help."
Yes.
And that's why we're doing this, to also embolden persons who have been through this and to bring authorities into question, to ask them what's really going on. Because you're telling us that you're here to protect, to serve, to help the community, but we're dealing with people every day who are telling us that they don't feel this protection.
So when I'm a victim right now of domestic assault, domestic violence in my home, and the accused got off due to a Jordan ruling. So anybody listening to this, please make sure you ask the Crown about the Jordan ruling. Never, ever let the court case go past 18 months of the day the person was arrested. Please. The person that put their hands on me has gotten off due to a Jordan ruling. 18 months. The person must be tried 18 months. Don't ever let it go past. Please talk to the Crown, talk to Victim Services. 18 months, the Jordan ruling. When my daughter spoke out, Children's Aid was involved in my home already due to the domestic violence in the home. And when she spoke out about this, the case was already open. And then they looked back and they said, "Oh my gosh, she has been saying this from such a young age," and their hearts broke. Where do I get justice now? From CAS not listening, Ontario Children's Lawyer not doing their job, the courts not doing their job? Can I even take a judge to court? Like, I don't know. The courts did not do their jobs. Ontario Children's Lawyer did not do their job. CAS, for all those years, did not do their job.
And I'm glad you're naming them, the exact agencies.
They're there to protect the kids. Are they really?
And people need to know that they're not doing their jobs the way they say that they're going to.
My daughter spoke at a young age, and, everybody calls certain parts of their body not vagina, not penis. We called it pokey and dinky. And so when she was saying this and she was taken to special victims unit, she called it pokey, and the police said, well, she didn't really say. So yeah, they didn't do anything. Oh, she's at a young age, she wasn't really able to say. He's giving her bath, we can't really say this happened. There's nothing really there that we could substantially. So the day that she did tell me now at this age, and I went back to Special Victims Unit, and the police officer was talking to me and saying stuff, what they were going to do, and to go into the home to get the evidence. I was mostly in shock that day. And I said, so you're just going to go arrest him because of what she said, because of everybody making me doubt my child? And she goes, ma'am, I don't know what's wrong with you, but your child at this age is able to describe a room, describe a locked area, to describe a lot of things.
So this happened at
2 different times.
So the first time around, you were gaslit and you were not believed.
Not just with the Peel Police, several times. There was times where we got called into the station for her to give a testimony, me to give a testimony. The police officers came to our house because that's what they told me to do. My child, Ash, would cry when I would do the exchanges at the police station. She would jump out of the back seat into the trunk. The cops couldn't even get her out. That they would say, shh, okay, we're not going to police enforce this. She would vomit all over me and in the car seat. That I'd have strangers coming up to me at the police station, giving me tissues, asking if they could help me because my child vomited all over me, not to go to her father. And the police were in the court order was police enforced, that they had to enforce and take her and put her in his car. To today, my daughter says, if I pull up to the police station to go get anything, don't do that. Drop me somewhere else, because she is so traumatized from going to the police station. They should be people that help my child.
Yeah.
but she's traumatized from
They're
going there.
the people that you want to run to when something is wrong. Instead, it's people that you'd rather run away from. Yeah.
So I refuse to exchange my son at the police station now. Like, yes, I did it because it was a safe spot for me to do it. I thought of my safety before I thought, not realizing
That is
the
hurting.
mental health.
Yeah.
If I could take myself back to that time now, I would never have done the police station. I would put myself in jeopardy before I would have done that.
Based on what you said in terms of your previous experiences with her when she was really young to experiences that you had with the police when she got much older, did you see any difference in how they treated you and her in these exchanges?
I think that day I was in shock that I met the police officer. I did go into the room and give my testimony of like, you guys never believed her. Why are you believing her now? And I'm so proud of her that she opened her mouth. I'm proud that the Peel police looked back actually to the video when she was younger then, saying, you know, not so much saying, oh, like they didn't listen. Our worker at the time,
evidence was there.
our worker for CAS, because they were involved with the domestic assault in the home, looked back at the extensive file and they said, our hearts break. Me and my supervisor are so sorry
That you didn't get the justice that you needed then.
that this child sat through this over and over and over, where she became numb to the point that no one believes her.
And now, today, as you guys are looking forward to going to court and hoping that you will receive the justice that you so much deserve, how do you feel now? How do you feel about her being able to take back her voice and her story, and you also being there to walk this journey with her side by side?
I feel scared. The courts haven't done me justice properly with her father in a previous case, with her 13-year court battle case, with the domestic assault with my son's father, with the breaking the bail provisions with my son's father. They've gotten away on everything. It's not that easy. We can all empower each other and we can all be there for each other, but at the end of the day, it's not easy.
The systems that are in
The
place.
system, I'm sure it's not just failed me. I'm sure it's failed billions of people. But somebody's got to answer. Like, if I do something wrong at my job, I have to answer to my principal. If somebody does something wrong in their job, they answer to their manager, to the CEO, to whatever. Who do the courts answer to?
Who are they answering?
I'd like to know that. When judges make wrong decisions of things that are blatantly sitting there in front of them, I'd like to know who they answer to. There has to be some sort of system. These judges are not invincible. And who do they answer to? I'd like to know this. Like, I'd like to know who I can take to court to get justice for what my child has gone through. No one believing her at a young age and silencing her. Maybe we could have stopped this earlier on than what we have put her through.
And that's the case for many people because they've been to court, they've called the police, they've gone through all the systems and done all the procedures that they're told that this is the right way to do it, and they still get no justice. And they're looking at it like, so what was the point of me saying if I'm not getting the justice that I'm speaking out for?
You know, I know this is about sexually assaulted victims, but like in domestic violence, 95% do not testify. And I was like, no, I'm going to testify. And then the day before, the officer said, oh, here, I will come pick you up. I'm like, no, I'm okay to drive myself to the courthouse. The morning of, he called me, I'm going to pick you up. I'm like, no, I'm okay to drive myself to the courthouse. I'm a strong woman, independent woman. I know why he wanted to drive me to the courthouse, because he knew we don't show up. We are silenced. We do not show up because we are scared. We are scared that the perpetrator is going to put us under. We are scared that they are going to get off. Mine did get off on a Jordan ruling, 18 months. I tell everybody, please, please, please look that up. I never knew what that meant. Breaking the bail provisions, the Crown said, oh, I don't know if I can get a conviction. So they dropped it. So now all bail provisions are gone. And I've said to the police so many times calling them, they say, oh, sorry, there's nothing we can do. You got to get a restraining order in court. I'm like, oh, what are you going to do? Come say sorry to me when I'm 12 feet under? Because that's really how I feel. That's how sexually assaulted victims feel. That's how domestically assaulted victims feel. That people want to say sorry when we're going to be 12 feet under. It's too late to say sorry then. We have to stand up together somehow, make people accountable that are in these powering jobs somehow. And I don't know what it is. Maybe lawyers, maybe people can help us to make other people accountable in these high-paying jobs that just control our lives, and we just have to take it. I don't know the answers, and I don't know if we can make people accountable, but we need to.
I think we can. I think that's the point of community and advocacy. We're so much bigger than them.
Yeah.
We're so much bigger than them. They might have the power up there, but sometimes that's one person. And a group of people, that's why it's important for community and advocacy. And I'm so glad when Ash spoke about finding your community,
Yes,
and speaking up.
she's talked to different therapists and stuff like that. Most have been good. You know, we're rebuilding our relationship to a mother-daughter therapist. I'm waiting to see my therapist with Revive right now to work out things, but it was important for her to get in first. She's connected with her therapist. She's working on things. You know, my heart breaks when she has these night tremors at night and she can't speak out and yell for me for help. She's frozen. She goes blank just sitting there, and you're yelling at her and she's just frozen. But somehow we must all be able to get together and make people accountable,
Yeah.
for the wrong decisions they made. And it's not just one wrong decision like, oh, the police investigated once or CS investigated. My file is so big. Like, for our worker at the time, when she said, I'm so sorry,
But it has
But
to be more than that.
CAS, like, those workers,
It has to be more than I'm sorry.
they could have stopped it.
It didn't have to go on that long.
Who gives somebody a heads up that they're coming for locking a child in a basement? I don't even know if the police found anything. Like, I don't know. Like, the police officer must have thought I was crazy that day. Like, oh, this mom's sitting here doubting her. Like, because I've been made to doubt her.
All this time.
I don't.
And know that you're in a place where you believe her when she tells you.
I've always believed her. I never stopped believing her. Yes, they put doubt in me, but I never, ever stopped believing my child.
Yeah.
They can't take that from me. I never stopped believing her. I knew deep down it was to get back at me for something that had happened. I never stopped believing her.
And I think that's what's given you the power to speak about this, to be in a place where you can name institution, you can clearly describe every interaction you've had with them and the points where they let you down. And there are probably so many other moms and girls out there who have the same experiences that you have, where they felt disempowered because they've been through these experiences and everybody that they went to help them did not help, did not make a difference. What would you say to a mom like that right now? I know you're still figuring it out.
Don't stop fighting. If your child says something to you, believe them. I believed. I just started doubting. And these institutions of high power made me start doubting. Just believe your child. When your child comes to you and says something, help them through it. Come to Revive, come to a lot of other organizations until you find the one that believes you and helps you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, we're gonna end the episode right here, but we will link all the necessary information in our show notes if you need to know where to get help in the regions of Peel and Toronto. All of that is in the show notes. Thanks again for listening, and remember to find your people and
speak up.
speak up. All right, take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.